Hi, hello everyone. I'm going to talk about translating datasets using datalang, especially the development of the datos package that we made up for the R4DS Spanish translation. So this week, we have seen what is the French keyboard experience. When technology is not built around your own language, it can be frustrating. Everything took longer than you want. And that sometimes is what people that are not English speakers experience where they're learning technology. So you may ask, why don't you learn English? Why don't you encourage people to learn English? Well, it's not that easy. For example, I'm from Chile. An English course in Chile can cost you, for 30 hours, $5, and the minimum wage is $4.50. So that's a barrier. So also the language gap implies that you have to devote many hours to learn the language and not the technology that you want to get involved with. So happy users, like hard users like me, what we want is that people learn how to use R. We want to share the joy. So for example, we really like this book, R for Data Science. It's very helpful to learn how to use R for data science. So this was our dream, to have R para ciencia de datos. So on 2017, Hadley shared on Twitter that there were many translations for Chinese, French, Korean, etc. So and Marcela Alfaro from the Costa Rica our community asked, so what about Spanish? Well, strangely, no. And it's very strange because Spanish is the second language with most native speakers after Chinese. So you have a really big community of Spanish R users that could use this. So on 2018, Edward Ruiz from our studio and a native Spanish speaker, he made a fork. And the only thing he get done was put Spanish translation because he realized that this is a very big effort to translate a book. So this didn't work out. And a couple of months later, on our Open Science Conf, Laura Sion asked Hadley about the Spanish translation. And he said that they talk about that, and the idea of having a community project started. So this idea spread around through our ladies Slack and Twitter, and a couple of weeks later, all the people that were involved and have the intention of participate were in a video conference. And just a week later, with no word translated at all, we have our X sticker, because you can't be an art project if you don't have one. So we became a sticker-driven project. And then, 2 weeks later, we have all the people that want to get involved in the translation with their chapters assigned. So these are the translators, they're from many countries around Latin America. And we have translator, and we also have reviewers. And we're a team that represent different varieties of Spanish, different backgrounds. We have people from statistics, from health science, from social science, from humanities, people with different R experience, people with different GitHub experience. And that was the team that we start at that moment. So in this video conference, we decided that we not only want to translate the text, but also the datasets that are used. And we just take decisions about what is the infrastructure that we're going to be used. So we're actually using GitHub and Slack. We have this organization in GitHub, and we fork the repository. We have a repository with the documentation and one for the package. And we have clear roles. So Edgar was leading the development of the package. Mauricio is the one taking care that we don't break everything with our forks, and I'm coordinating the thing and acting as an editor. So using GitHub is very useful for translation because you actually have the two versions, and you can check how people are translating things, and people can put their reviews in the same place. And Slack also has been very useful. We have channels for every topic, how to use GitHub, the translation, revision, etc. And we have polls that are very, very useful. For example, for empty cars, there are 3 ways to name a car in Spanish. So we have to decide which one we want to use. So we have a poll, and Autos won, and we have MT Autos. Another important thing was that Spanish has grammatical gender. So there are many technical words that we decide not to translate, like pipes, for example. So we have to decide if pipe was a he or a she. And everyone said that it was a he, and I was the only one that thinking of pipes as a she, so I have to change the whole way I thought about pipes. So we want to translate the text and the datasets, and there are previous experience translating texts, for example, in a community-driven way. For example, the carpentries, they have like special task force that are translating tutorials to Spanish. And also a project that is very dear to me because I'm part of it. It's called the Programming Historian. We publish peer-reviewed tutorials to help people from the humanities to learn to use digital tools. And it has English, a Spanish, and a French version. So we have like very clear guidelines and roles that people can engage in participating in this project. So what about the datasets? We want to create a package that contains all the datasets that are used, but not only for the book itself, because it can be used with teaching purposes. And what we wanted was, we have diamonds, and we want to have diamantes. And there were different ways to approach this problem. So one possible approach was using a lot of rename and a lot of mutating, but that was not sustainable in the long run, and we could make many mistakes. So we used another approach that was the package that Edgar developed that's called datalang. That has this really cool function that's translate data where you specify where the specifications for the translation are. It's a YAM file. And you obtain this, the translated dataset. So what about the YAM? You have to declare where the source is, which dataset are you translating, what is the name of do you want to give it, what about the translation of the variables, the values, and also this is very important, information for the help file. Because we not only we don't only have our translated dataset, but we also have the help file for the dataset. And this is really, really useful for the users. So we start translating chapters, and people said, OK, we need to translate this dataset, and we do all the process. And what is interesting about this whole workflow is that it's very easy to contribute. You don't have to be like the super experienced R programmer to be part of a package. You only need to know how to use a YAM file, so not messing with indents and indentation and stuff like that. And in 2019, this talk was accepted, so it became a conference-driven package. We have to have it ready for today. And we realized it was too bulky because we have around 20 datasets inside the package, and we need to be lighter. So we start translating, not including in the package only the YAM files, and that the files are translating when you call them. And this was working really fine until we realized we couldn't call the dataset this way because they were not in the package. But Hadley helped us, and he came around with a solution that was delayed assign inside the data folder. So now we are on cran, and we are very happy for this. And, well, people that participate, well, Edgar lead the development of the package, and we all here work as authors, and we also have contributions from people from different parts. So where are we now? All the datasets are translated. All the code of the book was checked with the translated datasets, so we're very happy. So the translation, we're almost there, and the reviews almost there. So the semester starts in August, and we need to have the book ready for start teaching with it, so we're in a hurry. But are we really near the end of this project? So it started in 2018, but I think this project has actually no end. But because what we have created is not just a book translation and a package. We develop like the human and the technical infrastructure to help shorten the language gap. And I really think that our biggest contribution developing this package is not having a package with Spanish dataset, but brand new errors. So if you fail with datos package, there's no way you're going to find in Google an answer. So I think this is an opportunity to foster the community. So we need to start thinking about where we're going to help people to deal with all these errors. So as I said, we started last year, and we have lots of things to do, but this is a very interesting project to work in. So thank you very much.
We have plenty of time for questions for Riva.
Thanks, that's very exciting. Did you consider using any automatic translation?
For the book?
Yeah, like at least to get like a first version of the translation, which you can then edit.
No, we didn't want to do that.
Okay.
We actually have fun translating the book.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good.
and you actually learn a lot about doing it. So many of us choose a chapter of something we wanted to learn. So translating it make us like be good at the topic of the chapter.
Cool, yeah, thanks.
In the namespace, how do you deal with accent and with all these special characters in Spanish, like in France?
Okay. So we didn't put any...
it should be also for which language?
Yeah, we didn't put any special characters on the variable names. So that was a thing we have to do because it was impossible to have variable name. So I think this is something possible if you can actually write things in non-special characters. So I think many languages, there's still a lot to do to shorten that gap.
How does the translation allows for students to look up at Google or stuff like this, Stack Overflows?
Sorry, I didn't.
If you do this in Spanish and the people, your students can't speak English, how do they look up problems?
Okay, so if you find an error and you put it in Google, you don't have right now a solution for that. So that is why we're trying to explore how we can foster the community. You know, people involved in the translation should be more active in Stack Overflow, for example, or maybe we should open our Slack channel to people to get in and find a solution there, or maybe we can, I don't know, have a special channel in our community forum. So that's something we're right now start to explore.
Hi, so thank you, Riva, for the great presentation. I wanted to see if you wanted to share some of the challenges that you faced during the process and that weren't apparent from the beginning.
In terms of I think we should have used this because having like 30 people being part of a repository that's already a fork, it was very, very challenging. I think 2 times someone tried to submit their translation to the English book, so we have to like reverse the process. And I think the more challenging chapter to translate was strings, because all the exercises and all the code didn't match with Spanish. So actually we have to create like a special data set, like the Harvard sentences. We translated some, but we have to actually create some extra to make the exercises possible.